All right. Well, we will reconvene to finish up yesterday's Commissioners Court meeting, but we're not going to approve anything, and we'll go straight into Sheriff's time. But let's begin with a prayer and pledge of allegiance today. Dear Lord, we gather here today to continue on in our budget discussions, and we continue to ask for your leadership and guidance. We praise you for the saving of all those kids in that cave in Thailand, and just thank you, Lord, that turned out well. Just guide and direct our conversations here, that we would set a budget that is reasonable for all concerned. We pray in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, it's 9 a.m. on July 10th, 2018, and we recessed our Commissioners Court meeting yesterday with the possible consideration of finishing today with the approval on a plat for a new subdivision, and we didn't quite get that accomplished. Apparently, according to the clerk, there's still some things that need to be done before we can approve that. So we will put that on another agenda, and therefore there is no further business that I know of related to the Commissioners Court meeting that began yesterday on the 9th of July. If I'm wrong, let me know. If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn that first meeting of the month, regular Commissioners Court.
I'll make it motion.
Motion to adjourn is made by Commissioner Parker and seconded by Commissioner Applewhite. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, now we'll begin the day with our follow-up to day one of our budget workshops, and we have Sheriff Ingram scheduled as number one on the list for today. And you'll see there on your schedule where Christy has given you several page references. If you would like to look at that, I know that Sheriff has provided everybody with a handout, and hopefully you've got that. If you don't, let me know. All right, Sheriff Ingram, welcome today. You can sit wherever you like. Just get a microphone in front of you. Yeah, tap that mic, make sure it's working. How about flipping that switch there? I may be out of battery. Okay, so why don't you trade out with Carl's mic and let me get a new battery for the other one?
There it is.
I'll replace your battery, Carl.
I'm hoping we can keep this one short and sweet today. Nothing big this year. I'm actually, we're going to cut it from last year because usually we get 4 cars a year. I think we're going to be fine if we get 3 this year and cut that. So that's going to save us quite a bit. Now, the camera system, I am asking so we can just finish up on them. This should be the last year we have to do cameras too. That'll finish us up on those. That would have been replaced.
That'll put cameras in all of the vehicles?
Yes, yeah. So I think last year, all the other budgets, I'm asking for the same. The only thing I would ask that y'all would consider is still I'm the only law enforcement one in the sheriff's office on the law enforcement side that don't get certificate pay. I actually would like to request that I can get certificate pay like the rest of the guys. But other than that, we're going to cut. I think last year it was like $156,000. I had that other. We're going to cut it down to $144, and I think next year hopefully we can cut it more than that. So we won't have to have cameras. So, but I want to request three cars this year instead of 4.
The $120,900, it doesn't include anything that's in item 2, 3, and 4, or does it? That's all on top of that. That
well, yeah, that 100. Can you hear me, Al? Can you hear me? Okay. I'm sorry, let me get here closer. Yeah, that 120,900 is just for the cars and getting them set up alone. Then that does exclude the graphics that I've got them there, and the graphics actually is the price of the graphics plus the installation of the graphics, putting them on. And then I do need one.
You're going with the SUVs still, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah. Actually, what we're wanting to do is we're going to Tahoes and getting away from these little Dodges. The prices now. Before, the reason we got those is because they were so much cheaper. Well, they're not anymore. The Tahoe has actually come down in price. Your Dodges are coming up so high that it's going to be cheaper to get those Tahoes, more especially in the long run. What we're finding out. And now remember, the Dodge dealership there, they have the Dodges and the Chevrolet. They're all one big company that they do the state bid. They said that counties and cities, they have the take-home program like we do, actually are seeing like a 50% reduction in the operation cost because those Tahoes are just so much better vehicles. The resale's better, so I mean, I think we'd be foolish not to go to them. And that's one reason why I think we can start cutting back a lot. There may be a year or two we have to go to 4 vehicles to get caught up in the future, but I'm thinking getting those Tahoes, and then we've got these SUVs that 3 cars is going to start being the normal because they just last much longer. So
this is 3 Tahoes right here.
Right here, that's just 3.
That's why they're
well with camera system. Now this is next year won't be that high because this is actually requesting 1 radar to finish that out. This will get all of our vehicles completely done. Now it's new cameras, the 1 radar we need, and that'll. So yeah, I mean, but yeah, so that's a cut.
But the cost of a new vehicle these days is $40,000.
Pretty much, and fixing it, yeah, and getting it suited out, yeah.
And the Durangos were 6 cylinders. Were you still using 6 cylinders?
No, these are the smaller V8s. I think these are the 5.3s.
No, what was in the Durango?
They're the 6 cylinders. Now these are the V8s in the Tahoe, but you've got a true truck chassis in that Tahoe. The fuel mileage, it's a small V8, so realistically the horsepower is going to be about the same. They're not hot rods, but the gas mileage would be pretty close to the same too, so there's not a big difference there. The biggest difference is I just don't think we'll have near the repairs on these Tahoes that we've been having on these Dodges. I think, and I even talked to our mechanics, and they even agreed with that. They said the repair cost is going to be way less when they do have repairs, and I think the repairs will be fewer on those Tahoes. They're just a tougher vehicle. And I would have went to them sooner, except before, years ago, 3 or 4 or 5 years ago, the price difference was so much different. I just couldn't justify asking for the Tahoes. But now, I mean, I think it would be foolish not to go to them. I think it'd be a big cost savings going to them, and plus we're able to cut back from 4 to 3 a lot. So that's going to save us quite a bit.
You're hoping to get 5 years out of these?
Oh yeah, I think so. I think we can get 170,000 miles out of the Tahoes. I really do. I think they're that good. So, and that's why pretty much everybody's going to them. Oh yeah, yeah. But and plus, I don't think it's going to cost us any more for the simple fact I think we can just start getting 3 most times. Now, there may be a year or 2 in the future we have to ask for 4 just to get caught up from some of the older ones. But I think 3 is going to be the normal now. So I mean, I think we can. So really, our budget shouldn't go up at all. Even though the cars have went up, we cut back to 3. I think we can make it fine. Now, what I am going to do to make sure all this is going to work, I think we only keep about 2 spare cars is what we have out there that's for the street, and we've got more than that. A lot of them are cars we use for schools and for the jail. But I may keep a couple extra just to put back there in case we have a repair that's needed. But we can go back to just keeping 2 spares after we see that it's going to work. But I think it will. I think we're going to get quite a few more mileage out of these SUVs. I just don't think we're going to have to keep getting 4 vehicles constantly. So I'm going to cut back on it.
I know the Chargers with 150,000 miles, the transmission in there costs so much.
Well, even these SUVs on the Chargers, I think they'll last. I mean, on these Durangos, I think they're going to last longer than the Chargers. But the only thing is, what I'm finding is the cost on these Durangos even is outrageous to keep these things going. And that's one thing that, and get it taken in mind now, the salesman up here in Dallas that does these state bids didn't ask us this. I'm the one that's actually requiring because of the cost that it's costing us on these Durangos. More especially this last couple of years, it's really hit us a lot harder. And that's why they order them. He said they've just about quit ordering those Durangos. He said because nobody's using them, everybody's going to that Tahoe. And so I got to checking into it, and that's why the city does it. And he was saying the people that's got the take-home programs like the county does, he said actually there's a lot of cities even start doing that. They're finding that they're reducing their operating cost by 50% on these with these Tahoes. So I think it's a win-win situation. We can order less, spend less, so I think it's just a good deal all around.
Those cameras are the latest technology?
Yeah, the same ones, no moving parts, it's all, yeah. But this is going to do us on the cameras, so next year I won't be asking for the cameras, so I'm hoping next year we can reduce that budget by another 15,000.
Do those automatically download when they return, or are they having to plug them in?
No, we didn't get that. We could in the future. They're capable of that just by buying a $200 piece to fit in the back of them, but then you got to do the inside. But right now it's not really that big of an issue for us. We're just downloading them and bringing the thumb drive in. We actually purchased some extra thumb drives just to stick in so we can change those out and not have any cameras down while we're doing that. So it's cost effective to not do the internal download. So no, we're not going to do that right now.
What's your
but everything else just the same. I'm not asking for.
What's your prisoner pay status these days?
It's picking back up. The federal inmate counts, actually we're up to 11 inmates now, which is up. Okay, I think we got down to like 6 or 7. You know, it goes through these spurts, but what we found is they didn't have any U.S. attorneys over here in our region, and they finally are getting some in now. So we're starting to see some inmates flow back in. Now we're back up to 11, and I'm hoping it's going to get better and get on back up to around 20 or 25. So it's looking better. So right now we've got 11 inmates, which is good. That's some decent income coming in from the feds. But I'm thinking hoping it's going to get better.
We got 315 for 17, so all the budget 275 for 18. We're not going to get that number either, so I'm going to have to budget.
Yeah,
well, that's why I was wondering if we need to take a big cut on that, or if you're predicting something different that you didn't hit this year.
I'm sorry. I think it's like 45 a day.
We budgeted 275, and 2/3 of the way in the year we're at 108. So if we ended up the year at 170, we're still 100,000 short. So I'm thinking we ought to lower that down by 100. Well, yeah, that's what I was going to say.
And hopefully we're going to get a bunch in this next year, and it's going to be a lot better. You just never know with these,
no,
but
you don't.
But the trend right now is starting to come back up, and that's a positive thing. So I'm hoping that this next year y'all budget 100 less, we'll make that up. I guess more hopefully. But like I say, you just don't know. But now since they've got these attorneys in there now, we're starting to see them come back in. So it's I'm hoping that's going to be the trend. But like I say, the only extra thing I'm asking for is I wish y'all would consider giving me that certificate pay like my guys. Other than that, nothing else. We're going to cut back on the cars, and this will finish up our cameras for this year. And yes, mine wouldn't change, Carl. Wouldn't change.
You would have to go publish it back, but it wouldn't change.
No, wouldn't change. That's all I can get.
It would have to be published, and it's changed.
Right.
It's yourself. Decide to do that.
And who all would that affect? Constables?
Well, you would have to do constable to get the sheriff out.
You don't have to, because you're not. What you're going to be doing is paying the elected officials in that office. You got her, that's it, whatever, that's still paid, that's sheriff, still paying that year. Yes, certificate pay better.
Well, who all does this certificate pay affect? Just you?
Well,
All of his.
All his personnel, they get that certificate, they're employees. The only ones that are effectively elected officials that are on.
That's the only change, okay.
It should be down, it should be that.
I think the risk correct, that's
Yes.
all Lindsay got to do something fast.
Yep. Well, there is some logic behind that, but once you get it started, you're right. You can't change it. Tough. Right now, it's 20 per month per what? In other words, how do we?
You have up to $30 per certificate in your life for intermediate pastors and beginners, and the most they can get is up to $120 a month. So it varies every time that somebody reaches a certain certificate, they'll have a copy of it and request that. So any time we'll have to, we'll add it to it.
So everybody but elected officials is receiving that.
He's already getting it. Other than that, everything else, we just leave it the same. We're operating on the same budget.
Okay. Who's asking question?
I told y'all this would be quick. It didn't take us long. It took a long time. It took me 12 years to get it. There's a lot of schools and a lot of work, but anyway, just wish y'all consider it. Thank you. Y'all have any questions?
Thank you, Sheriff.
Thank y'all. Thanks, team.
Okay, I've asked at 12:45 there in the commissioner slot. I've got Sean Bryan coming to talk to you about a possible change in direction with IT expenditures, so just be aware of that. If we wanted to start some commissioner discussions or road discussion now, we've got an extra 20 minutes for... Sure. An hour early. Yeah, go ahead, Steve.
Thanks, Steve.
Yes, sir.
don't anticipate any unusual expenditures for the Veteran Service Office. There should be standard annual required training take place with the Texas Veterans Commission. That's run about $1,000 for the training period. There may be some changes because the testing procedure has changed. We used to have the testing done while we're at the training session, wherever it be held. But I've completed that this year online. There's still a requirement to have classroom hours. And I don't know what the TVC is going to do as far as continuing that requirement. I haven't had any additional correspondences this year about a change to having to go to classroom sessions. So I'm assuming that's still going to take place. Yes, sir. I haven't maintained the head count, just kept track of the fact that we're having veterans in. There's an attached page in the handout. That list of counties shows veterans who have actually entered the office, not just phone calls from those additional counties, in addition to Titus, Franklin, and Red River. And down at the bottom you see references to Dallas, Fort Worth, and Houston. Those are the phone calls. Because of the internet and other folks not answering their phone, I do get calls from people needing assistance from those areas too. And one of the expenditures in the annual report that came out, I didn't give you all the full packet of the history of the Veteran Service Office since '09. This year, just the update for the fiscal year 17. A significant increase in medical care expenditures. What's shown references expenditures here in Titus County recipients. And one of the things is that we have a large per capita of assisted living, nursing home, and care facilities that are reasonably priced as opposed to metropolitan areas. So there's a larger influx of people trying to get their mothers, surviving spouses, their parents in these facilities who actually live in other jurisdictions. So that's one thing to keep in mind. One of the things that I've done also, in addition to taken in Red River County. I began posting on my contact sources, such as the websites of different counties. I'm listing the service officers at other places that are closer to where some of the people that come in the office either don't know that they have a service officer, but made that contact information available to them, which may cut down on the pressure of people trying to find their way to Mount Pleasant to get veteran services. But I don't think that's a bad thing. The Red River and Franklin County folks are, of course, bringing in their VA dollars to the area. That's always good.
Why don't you go over this, please?
This is the latest fiscal year report. Shows the geographic distribution of VA expenditures. Highlighted Titus County. The number 1606 reflects the number of veterans actively on the VA rolls as to receiving benefits. That's an accurate number based on the year 2017.
Do they give you that number annually?
Yes, sir.
Is that number stable? Does it go up? Does it go down?
No, it's been dimensioned. One of the things that I noted in looking at the decision of whether or not to try to take on Red River is their numbers are dwindling. It's dropped dramatically over the last year and a half from really 1,200 down below, or right at 900. We're losing veterans at the rate of about 1,000 a day, primarily World War II, Korea, some Vietnam. But there's a higher influx of surviving spouses. They're living longer than the veterans, and their need for care. And a lot of that care is only provided to those that served during the period of combat. They didn't have to go overseas, but they had to be in uniform while there was a conflict going on somewhere in the world. And those are surviving spouses that can qualify for aid and attendance and death pension benefit. The numbers that reflect total VA expenditures at 11,205 is in thousands, so that's 11,205,000.
What would that include? Just consider that medical as well.
It's going out for benefit. The total includes everything, and the total entire list is $4,217,000, which is
that's included in the 11.
yeah. The total is all the individual benefits identify such as education, medical care, pension, compensation are all subsidized.
How could you get that information? How many we had active duty military?
Reflected by these actual numbers, you're not going to be able to identify that unless you go to each branch of service and try to get them to feed that down to you demographically. The recruiting office may be able to give you a percentage based on the population and demographics.
What is this next handwritten page?
The list of counties, those are counties where there's actually been veterans come to the office. Does not include just, in addition to phone calls, those are counties where there's had veterans in my office looking for assistance. The type list of facilities is reflective of nursing homes, assisted living and retirement centers, where I also visit to assist surviving spouses, veterans who are in their care, so that they can receive the proper benefits.
Steve, on this, the last page, is that only the veterans themselves, or is that family too? This last page where about the nursing homes and all, is that just veterans, or is that?
Why do you not have one?
I didn't understand what.
Got a non-functioning panic button. The new style or the old style? And when we redid this system back 3 or 4 years ago, why Why didn't you say something else? To who? Paul Lindsay's the only one that has anything to do with this. If you want a panic button, mention it to Paul Lindsay and get one. Just don't punch it unless you need it.
Believe me.
Or we will take it away. Yeah, Paul Lindsay handles that. He can fix you up.
Okay.
But that old one's, no, it doesn't even, it's not even compatible with the new system. It's a totally different system.
Good.
So that can be thrown away.
Just don't push. Yeah, just don't push.
All right, thank you, Steve.
Yes, sir,
Appreciate
thank
what you
you.
do.
Thanks, Steve. Thanks, Steve.
Deborah ought to be here in a minute. Get some coffee.
Touch your rope. Touch your rope.
See? Because so what's that downtown? It's in walk towards down Chicago. That's not. You can turn around and build a thing there and have everybody go. The county give them that acreage out there. It's really something we need to maybe talk about. Terry was out there this morning. They had a car pulled over.
Y'all may not know it, but David Holmes, his father passed away last weekend over in Carolinas. He was gone last week.
Who's that? Who's that?
David Holmes, custodian.
David.
His dad died a week ago Saturday.
You know, that, we moved the building, that, I guess, we're gonna be, what do you call it, where the election machines are stored behind it. You know, the guy that did the stuff, Jones, told us that all that growth on that thing on that building is growing into, they say it's really bad for the building, the material on it. But today we moved it back, David's moved it back, and
That greenery stuff?
the green stuff, the plants and the stuff, and two people have said it's bad.
Huh.
But the landscape, Newman's, whoever we've got coming around, we've asked them to trim that and dig out that flower bed and move it back to that home. Got them out there this morning. Somebody has parked there. Get them moved, but the landscape people hadn't showed up. They were here by now before 9.
Yeah.
But they're going to do it. But they've asked me, David asked me about the green stuff. I said, well, we mentioned it.
Should we just remove it?
He said, yeah, we might have. I don't know what he is.
Well, you just cut it, it's all growing out of the ground. You just cut it off in the ground, or I guess it'll just die.
Yeah. Nobody wants to drive it. Well, why don't you get it ready to go?
Well, that's what I'm asking.
I'm just,
They don't want to drive it. to do.
I didn't know if you wanted it, it's in the road.
I like it, I think it's there, but I don't know whether it's, I'm told it's not good for us.
Looks like it's their tractor.
I don't know if it's the same tractor, it's that little old tractor that they told them, I said, y'all need to get this up, you should go. Never remained that shop. It's all the top tractor, that's right. Now they won't let it work. Don't let it sit out there. Okay, Deborah's out. I don't care about that dump truck, there's no sense just giving it away.
Hey, Jeff.
Yeah.
I know y'all talked about the volunteer fire. We've always asked them to keep us appraised of any of those grants that are going after. They never been able to get them, so we always want to know, because match obviously would come from us, and we never get them. But I would tell you, the company can't hear what they're wishing, they might get a $200,000 truck. They're not going to be able to pay that. So they need to have all that planned out before they don't need to be coming to us asking for all $100 a year for the repairs, and so they're do all that.
Wait a minute, I'm lost. Again, I can't hear you.
Well,
I got me in here, man.
volunteer fire department.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we have, I guess I'm trying to think, just about every department has gotten some piece of equipment, whether it be a tanker, an engine, or whatever. And in the past, everybody has taken care of their own, expenses and whatnot. I mean, sometimes it's been tough to do, but we have, we've even went and borrowed money to do it. There's a lot of good stuff out there that can be gotten, like bunker gear, stuff like that, but the vehicles and all, I found out a little more about this deal with 5 Star. They had put in for this grant, and Sugar Hill had also put in for a grant. Sugar Hill, for some reason, and it's like I said yesterday, I don't know why they, normally if you've got good equipment and whatnot, you have to list what all you've got and all this kind of stuff. If you've got, for say, a tanker, they're going to drop you to the bottom of the list. Well, Sugar Hill don't have one. 5 Star does have. They got the old Winfield tanker. I say old, they got their tanker. Okay, what has happened, from what I understood yesterday, I didn't get to talk to Lee, but I talked to one of the other guys, and from what I understand, they have kicked 5 Star up towards the top of the list, and so that's the reason that they were going to take it and ship this other one to Sugar Hill. So that's kind of where, from what I understand, they have a chiefs meeting every month. So I don't know. After I was told that's what I got to thinking. I thought, well, Jerry was there. Wonder why he didn't. And I don't know if they've even talked to Lee might not have even talked to him about that. They just decided in their department that that's what they would do. They would take if they got a new tanker, they would take it, because you've got to hold this stuff for so many years before, and you have to go back to, it's just like FEMA with our engine. I think it was 5 years that we had to hold it, and then it was officially ours. We didn't have to you know, show them anything that we had done or was doing with it or anything else. But that's the only thing I can figure out is that they had thought about it in their own department and said, well, hey, if we get the new one, we'll just ship this other one to Sugar Hill. Because it should be, it should be in, totally theirs now. The Forestry Service deals is a little bit different than the FEMA deals, grants. Both, they're different. Sometimes on some of the stuff, the Forestry Service keeps theirs longer. I mean, we have to do stuff for them longer. Yeah, they can come back now.
So what's the likelihood of them getting that grant?
Well, I don't really know that. I hadn't talked to Lee, so I don't know exactly where they've been kicked up to. And I mean, there's a deal that we can go to and see, if we put in for bunker gear or a vehicle or whatever, then we have to I mean, we can go into this website and see where they're at, where the standards are. And you kind of know where you're at then through the process. It's usually, I think it's about a year and a half process that like they may be doing stuff for bunker gear right now for next year, doing the grant work now. Huh? 218,000 is what he had there. Yeah, 21,000.
We just take that, I assume you've just done it on the fly in the past, you never budgeted for it.
And I don't know if that cost ours. I think the one that Nortex got, if I'm not mistaken, it was about that price, but when we added the few extra items that we put on, then we had to come up with a little more, besides the matching. The 10% matching is just a bare truck with the minimum, very minimum stuff on it, so. And I may try to go to one of the chiefs meetings here.
Well, if they shuck an old one and they've got a new one, I'm assuming that the maintenance is not going to be anymore. I was just going to say, I don't suggest that we budget it. If they're fortunate enough, we get it, 10 cents on the dollar, pretty good deal.
Well, I know when we got our engine, if I'm not mistaken, Thomas loaned us the money. He had the money in his budget. He loaned us the money then for the matching deal. And I don't know how he got his back or whatever, but yeah.
I did send an email to Leslie. I'll see if he responded here. And I just said that if you're expecting money for those major repairs, we would consider treating you like we did the other department that requested it and loan you the money at zero interest. If that's acceptable to you, I'll put that on the next agenda and we will discuss that so that you can go ahead and get those repairs made. There's no point waiting until the new budget year if you're down a piece of equipment. That doesn't make sense. 4 years.
Yeah. That's on the 2011, the tanker.
I mean,
That's,
spend money somewhere else, you should actually this year before we anticipate the big goal. It's gonna take a lot of maintaining.
that, yeah, and that's something that another one of the forestry service deals, they gave them that truck, but they had to outfit it. So, you know, it cost them, I don't know what it cost them, but it cost them a pretty good penny, I'm sure, to outfit that truck. Well, we were offered one too at Nortex, and we said, no, we're not gonna spend that kind of money on something, you know. For one thing, we didn't have anywhere to house it. And for another thing, you know, we didn't want the expense of trying to keep something like that up.
Well, so you'll have that discussion a little bit. Again, I'm not gonna budget it, but, like Carl said, hopefully they thought about what if they are lucky enough and they do get that thing, just what's the plan? We'd like to kind of know the plan. Does Chief Clark know that they're getting ready to, you know, they'd be in line to get a tanker? Maybe that's good news to them. I wasn't gonna budget it. All right, well, I went ahead and put on the agenda tentatively to consider that request from Cookville and consider loaning them money. I've got that on the next agenda. If I don't hear back from him or he says, no, they're not interested, then I'll take it off there. All right, let's get back on track. Welcome, Deborah, to your final budget meeting. Kind of sad, isn't it? Would you pass that microphone over, please? Well, is it working? Well, here, I've got a battery.
Yeah.
Tap on it.
She just touched it. Put it over towards you a little bit, Deborah, please.
I don't recall you ever asking for raises. That's a joke.
That's pretty much the only thing that I asked for was just raise.
There's just not a whole lot here in this budget, is there?
Because it's not anything big major that I can foresee coming up, because we get our computers and all that kind of stuff.
Technology fees are up a little bit. What are R&M fees? Records and management.
Have all kind of fees going on.
On the archiving fees, is about 4 books that they're going to redo. That's going to be about right now.
Will that be in this budget year? Not the new budget year, the current budget year? Even though we don't have any expenditures, we will by the end of the budget year.
Deborah, I know this has been a real headache and probably a heartache too, but how are we doing on those back taxes and getting everything separated?
Just get that on the new person. Registry money down some people, and we're still trying to, but, of course, next year, because I've got this one person, if she's still there next year, that, when that time comes, that money will all be sent to the state, and it's due to the state.
When will that happen?
June of next year.
Is that something new?
No, it's just, I mean, because you can, and I've been trying all this time to find them. I have, like,
It's good, what happened years ago, of course, before she came in there, this had started up. And we're trying to get it in the right place.
Well, I know the story behind it. I just wondered about if this is cheatment is a new requirement.
We got a letter from the city law deal with their asking us what we're at on getting that cleaned up. It actually went down through the years, sometimes $300,000.
Oh, yeah, it was huge.
We've isolated it. And everything went out. They got a letter from get out here. I got to tell me how much it's going to stand by every. He doesn't tell me that. He says it's still. You're saying it's a lot of money.
well, not all of that, because some of them, well, that actually, like I said, some of it's more to attorneys and other things. So it's benefits to me.
Like, how much are we talking about sending to the state? 6 figures? No. Not that much there.
And by the end of this year, there'll be lots more than
She's whittled away at it for years. It's just been one of those things I know call on the officer's office. Yeah.
So we're going to take care of that this year, it sounds like, by writing a check to the state.
You don't have people come up and say, this is my money, somebody overpaid, underpaid, whatever. You can't pinpoint who it goes to, and then go forward and say,
When will we write that check to the state? Is it a calendar year or what?
well, yeah, I know, whenever, I check, it's like,
So it'll still continue to sit there and we'll still get auditor comments. Okay, you want to move into the court technology fund, overlaps to clerks. Page 9091. Refresh us again how that is shared amongst the two clerks. Doesn't generate that much money, does it? County attorney?
Computer stuff, it's like college, she has time putting in her office, and then she transfers in the office she wants to do it for that, so.
Well, it's helped us out a lot.
Oh, yeah, but I mean, it would have been, for us, it would have been simpler, but it just had a technology fee that for the county, we could have used it for in the office, we had to use it for.
Well, it just so happens that RJPs generate far more in fees than they actually need, and we get some indirect benefit from that. All right, so y'all are just going to continue to handle the technology fee revenues as you have by communicating amongst each other. All right.
I asked about that, Deborah, not to, because this has been an ongoing thing before you ever got in there, but you have whittled it down, and that's the main thing I want people to know, that it has been cut down. And basically what this is money is sent to the county. I know y'all are looking kind of what is this? It's money that was paid in, that person the money's supposed to go to, we can't find them.
These are all court cases.
We don't know where that person is. We don't know if they're dead or alive. We try to contact people. So that money sits there, and it sits there, and it sits there.
Until somebody comes and asks for it.
And how often does somebody actually show up?
They're either coming pretty often, or Deborah's been able to go back and find case out all the cases that that money belonged to, and she moved it into that court case name. We might still have the money, but we might then have to identify $10,000 of that money belonged to this court case. And so we moved it to that court case, and if it when something happens to that court case, it will be that money happen.
Does that even need to be a priority anymore?
Let's give a priority.
You got to account for every dime of it.
People don't mind, we won't have it cleared up.
Well, I mean, if we're spending a lot of time, I don't know how much time we spend on that, trying to hunt people down.
One time, a lot of times.
Well, and also, you know, if we already sent it to the state, they can go on the state's website and look for their name. So even if we send it and the next day somebody comes in, they can go to that website and say, here it is, apply, you know.
So how much longer are we going to expend any effort on this, I guess is my question.
Well, also, as we're doing these dismissals to, and that's getting rid of because there's been these cases that are just sitting there, they're just open, and it's like, now we.
If it gets dismissed, the county get to keep the money?
It will probably go.
It's earmarked.
It probably will go on forever, because you're always going to have cases where money comes in, you can't find the people.
But the new ones are not like that.
You should have all your money identified to the
Yeah.
case. This is money that
This isn't a continuing problem, this is just
See, and the way
erosion of an old problem.
The way it is now, it's like she has like a laser or I don't know, spreadsheet, and we're auditing her outside, they want a report that we have in the system and their bank account, and it identifies everybody and comes back to the bank statement, and we have it all located and allocated, but it's all time back to good work. And that, I think, is part of planning and what we come in to stick with things wrong in another kind of clerk's office. In 2006, it was kind of the same way we worked on the data on the system, and we're making a report, identifying it, it's in the bank, and we got one.
she got one line that says.
Right, and they're just lumping it, right.
That's where the 86,000 is from.
It's not that it's really unidentified, or computer, right, it's, she's not taking the manual and putting it in a system like county clerk has on the cash bond where there's your name, your cat case, and all of that. That's ideally how the, just does, you know, the way she's doing it.
Well, yeah, they got people, they need to identify it now. They need to be, so they need people. And sometimes, if there's somebody come in and go through a case, she doesn't have that case listed, well, obviously, that's what they are. A lot of it's been identified in good cases, a lot of it's been paid out. A lot of cases, because that's money's been there 25, 30 years.
At what point does it become
Been there.
immaterial?
It was in here 30.
6,000 is still material. It has to be under 5,000 or something.
But I've just heard that that's going to get a big hit to it between.
Well, I don't know. How much money do you think you're going to send to the state? Yes.
Well,
40,000.
If she works through the cases and she gets the remaining 46, then she sends 40 up to the state.
But my question is, how much manpower is being expended trying to find a home for this old money? That's my question.
y'all pretty well work on it anytime you got to get a chance. You're caught up here, they go work on it. This been here ever since I can remember. You're trying to account for it. I know the auditor's office is really done a good job.
Again, can you?
Well, I mean, Carl and I, Carl can correct me, but we talked about moving it, like maybe to a mayor or something in John County, and if somebody comes up and they don't have it, then that would trigger a page.
I know we talked about that 3 years ago. Why don't we just do it and quit spending time hunting down homes for this old money? If they show up, they show up. It just seems like an inefficient use of resources. We got better things we can spend our time on.
But, I mean, like I said, it's the technology and stuff that's, you know, getting more and more where you can, you know, track. We're used to canceling out all of that. And like I said, I've got one person in the office that she's the most computer. Yeah.
Well, I would say, I think more on the big 6 years.
Can you tell me why? Well, I mean, I'm just curious what your opinion is.
I don't want to, one thing, I don't want to tell the people that want to do disasters, it's the same law, but I want to stay with
It's the human resources, Human Health Services. They're one of them that have, we have a grant with them, a land report that, and so they're the ones, it's not been from them, because I was curious about that, because this is our first year doing single audit because of the loop.
Right.
This is all new to me, so now that it's,
So if you don't, if they don't think you're doing everything right, then they will give you the grant.
Okay, well, that's the answer I wanted to hear. It's because you were a big-hearted guy and you just hated to see folks not get their money. Well, that's a logical explanation.
and now anybody that's written up for any reason, then we'll have those 3 or 4 people written up, which we're doing pretty good and not having that happen. But if we did, we would have to send 4 explanations. So that's why I'm trying to work with these offices and get everything.
Okay, well, now you're giving me some perspective here. It's like me looking for
You
old...
should already know what we're talking about in our brains.
Well, no, if we just felt a moral obligation to hunt down these people from 20 years ago and give them their $100 back.
We have to have an explanation from now on until the loop is, yeah, so it's gone the next 17 years, we're going to have to do this.
Okay. Ms. Prince, do you know what we're talking about here? Okay. I just want to be sure that we're not leaving you out of that loop. Okay. Well, if we have some obligations to the state to put forth some effort to do this, that I understand. Okay, moving right along.
And that's what I'll tell the letters. And I'll be able to show them how much it's got down.
Well, used to, you'd be a deal from the state, list all the people and need to contact them about some money.
All right, if there's nothing else to discuss, we'll move on into Joan, if we left you any time, or is that all we were going to talk about with you, Joan, was just the use of that court technology fund? Was there anything else you wanted to, well, no, I'm sorry, I worded that wrong. Was there anything else you had to say about that technology fund while Deborah was here?
No.
Okay.
We only use it if we need it.
Okay. Who's my 10:15? Brian Clayton. Until Brian gets here, let's go ahead and turn this over to Joan.
On my general county fund, the only thing is, last year, my travel was based on the previous year, and the way that the DPS does their training, they do it usually every 2 years. Well, for some reason, they decided to back it up to 18 months rather than every 2 years. So that increased the expenditures. I have like $768 capital reimbursement for the summer conference for about a little over $400. So I feel like I'll have enough to make it through this year. But the tax should have a shortfall, and they said we can't reimburse you. I would like to have my money there.
Yep, that's understood. How many do they pay for you a year, 2 or just 1?
They pay for each, like, of the County District Clerk Association trainings. They pay for mileage, and they pay a percentage of my mileage and a card. Probably 70% of my hotel bill. As well as some parking. Sometimes they pay parking, sometimes they don't. But I'll keep it one, and I always get a check.
And they do that for how many different ones? How many is that? 3 or 4? Like how many a year is that they do that?
TAC will do it. They have done it twice a year.
Yeah, same for me.
Yeah, and then but this year they're sponsoring a first-time fall conference. So I'm hoping that they will offer reimbursement for that also.
Now, they'll do that, you know, not their employees, they'll do it for everybody.
They only do it for one employee.
what a bulk of this money is for your employee that doesn't get tax reimbursement. Okay, that's what I was trying to figure out, you know, if you're getting that much money back, but you do have other employees that are not eligible for that tax money.
Well, and all of the PBS schools are not covered at all. So me and the clerk go to the PBS schools, which a lot of that is CJIS training that helps us keep our 90% completeness so that we get our law enforcement grants.
Yeah.
And so I think it's just really important that we keep that up so that we can meet their requirements and not lose that.
Have you seen our latest figure? I think they showed me 90%.
We are 90%.
Just barely.
We're not more than that, but that's really all it takes is 90% and August 1st. So it could go up.
Well, I know you all do all you can do about that percentage. All right. And you think that 4,200 will cover it?
I think so.
All right, I don't see any other changes there.
Of course, we've already discussed our combined fund on court technology, and it looks like we're a little bit below at 60% on that as far as revenue collected, but that's something we can't really control.
But this is only 8 months. This is only 8 months right here, isn't it?
It's through the end of June, but the June revenue is not included in this because it's before it's turned in.
Right.
It's about
September revenue.
Yeah. So you've really only got 2/3 of a year here.
That's what this is saying. All right. My projected revenue for my statistics is going to be greater this year. But the expenditures, I might expend all the money this year because January 1st, we're going to go online with the new software called TexEver. And
Tex what?
TexEver.
TEXEVER.
So instead of the old TER system, and under the old system, when we would do AOPs, which is acknowledgement of paternity, is something we would do for the people in Titus County. We could use the old Windows 7 laptop we have and just use it as a DVD player, basically, because they have to listen to their rights and their responsibilities as a parent.
What is this for? I don't.
Or it's for my Bibles.
Who watches this?
To add a parent to a birth certificate. It's called AOP, Acknowledgement of Paternity.
Does that come up in an adoption or once somebody is determined to be a biological parent?
If the father is overseas working and his child was born and he's not there to sign the birth certificate at the birth of the child, his name's not on the birth certificate.
I see.
So even though he's married, but if he's not there to sign it, his name's not on there. Well, when he comes home, then we have a little acknowledgement of paternity hearing. They listen to the video and they sign all the paperwork. We send in the paperwork. And when TexEver comes online, we're going to have to do it actually online. We're going to have a computer that has like Windows 7. And I have the money in this budget this year. And the 2018 money just being, so it would not create going over budget even.
It comes out of file statistics money,
And that's all that money can be spent for, is for things like that. But it's got to have signature pad, mouse pad. It's got to have Windows 10 on it, and some things like that. So I'm going to spend most of it this year. I expect to, but then that's a one-time expense.
Okay.
They're right on
according to like the projections of the income that's been collected on the R&M line, I expect that to go up as well.
Any big bookbinder projects this year, new bookbinding projects?
Just the ones that will be 100 years old already. Those are the ones that I'm marketing for rebinding and reservation.
You collect a fee on that, don't you?
Yes. Yeah, up until September 1st, 2019, it'll be $10 on each document file. And unless they go ahead and extend that, then they'll drop that.
Are we pretty well where you want to be?
Yeah, we're doing
I know we got behind there at one time,
yeah,
way back there.
way back, yeah. But I think 4 books is what I proposed for this year. I'd have to go back and look at the proposal to be absolutely certain that it's, you know, they're just will cost up and as those books. It's just a few each year.
But I think you've done a good job getting us where we need to be. Trying to remember what it was like.
There's some still that are in really bad shape, but, you know, it's getting too long.
Yeah. Well, that increase in the fee kept out a lot.
Yes, it has.
A whole lot.
A lot. Double the amount of revenue that can go through the project.
Anything else? Thank you, Joan. Thank you, John. Brian Clayton's in there.
The only other thing I remind you all is she does pay for her.
Out of what fund?
She pays for her part-time help out.
Yeah.
I asked them about to pay for one of the employees contract.
And we also are moving partial salary for one of those other regular employees, or full-time employees up there as well.
Is that as much as we ever did 6 years ago?
One full-time person and part-time living out there, but when Joan had, we paid one full-time out of RM, and then she decided to put that person back in the county, and so she's paying, we just transfer the money out of there, because it's easier for us to do payroll, to offset the salary, and then the part-time scanner is paid out of RM as well.
The
That's
part,
just like Deborah Aston, she bumped up one person to a chief deputy, and out of her REM, whatever that difference is, we moved to general county as well. But we pay everything out of the general budget because it's easier for payroll, just to pay all out of one place instead of splitting it and all that.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, no, I agree.
One time we paid for a full person salary.
And a bit.
We're not doing as much as we did. We're doing more than we did.
Yeah, so she went from Diane went from 1 to 0, now we're back up to about half. Okay, while we're waiting, if anybody needs a quick break. Try to get the
My name's on that list. My name's on that list, you got mine?
yeah, mine too.
You see if my name's on that list, Carl, I may need to get some money. Did you get hot yesterday?
See that right there?
What'd you do? A golf club hit it?
What'd you do? Really? What'd you do?
Working out, it's going about business. Working out, get healthy, get that person. Yes, that's right.
I figured that twist.
Is it gonna heal, or you gonna?
That's what happens when you get old.
No different, they kept saying, well, go to the gym and work it out and keep building up the muscle memory and maybe it'll heal itself.
Where'd you hurt it? Where'd you hurt it at?
I heard it on the treadmill. John.
Is it on the side, the front,
No, it's the
back?
meniscus, it's in front, it's the meniscus.
Oh, that's ligaments and tendons. You might have to cut on that.
Don't do any good. You just hold on to them.
Shot? Yeah, no, I gotta get him, I haven't worked on it.
Hey, we don't want him spending any of our medical money.
Well, they're just spending extra money on these shots, I wouldn't have to have it, but it's worth it.
Yes, get all fixed up.
You want me to show you how to mute
Yeah,
that?
I gotta give him the $6 million man.
That's some important calls I had to take.
Well, you can still mute it, can't you? Oh,
Hello?
ma'am.
Mayor Mills, he's in Jefferson County meeting with Judge, I think she said Jones. So she texted and said he knew he was supposed to be here at 10:15. He knew he was supposed to be here at 10:15, so she don't know what happened.
Well, this is his first week back from vacation, so.
Yeah, and then he told me too, he said, well, this is the first time I'm doing this, and I'm supposed to be meeting, doing another budget, something with somebody else and somebody else. But he didn't turn anything in, he was
Oh,
supposed
he didn't turn anything in?
No, he was
Because I
supposed.
told him, I said, well, if I have any questions, get with me, and I'll turn it in to Carolyn before she leaves.
I reminded him too, but he did. He said, this is my first time. Okay, just know you get it to me before I leave Tuesday. If he said, okay, I'm gonna get it.
Well, what he does is usually say, and I just ask Mary, so, will you call her and see if she's got their budget for their local funding? Because usually they'll send you letters to tell them how much.
Okay.
The only thing they're gonna be looking at is their detention, what that's gonna be, and if their local funding, it's gone up a little bit, whatever they budgeted for, the do not board. If there's no increase in do not board.
I don't think Jeff's
salary,
going to this thing.
You thought I just pulled it.
Why wouldn't he?
Like, long year for the juvenile.
Well,
Need about
do not
that.
board will be paying for
Or the shop.
So that'll be raised, and that'll
Okay.
just change it every time.
He did ask, I think he thinks, he talked to Roger about what it needs.
Okay.
Get Roger.
Yeah, somebody needs to be here for it. And Roger may be here.
Well, let's turn the darn thing on.
You know, when you turn your volume down, you'll release that reason.
Yeah.
I can hear that downstairs.
Hey, big boy. Are you gonna speak for Jeff? Well, I didn't know if Jeff was coming or not. He told me you were over the maintenance building, so. Okay. Well, y'all come on right now if you want to. Okay. All right. Yeah. All right, bye-bye. About 10 minutes before they get.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll start with Jay. Neither does Brian Clayton. He's talked to Rogers. Apparently maybe was gonna, well, he may be addressing Jeff Cates's.
Call me on vacation.
Going on vacation for 26. I hope that's shot.
This month?
Who gives it to you, Hester? Johnson.
You'll come to my house, I'll put some red clay, vinegar, and Dick Sav on it, get it.
I got some stuff out there that I give my calves. I can give you a shot out there.
Working on it.
James, anything we need to know? You don't have anything to discuss here on your sheet, it doesn't look like. Got a big arrows through it. You don't need a new Silverado truck to replace that white one?
Not gonna get anything for it anyway, are we?
Be surprised how that little trouble left.
You've had virtually no auto repairs for that truck this year? I'm not, that's good.
Didn't we get all of that, a bunch of that stuff done that needed to be done last year, right before end of the year last year? That's what I was thinking.
But not till 11:30.
Thank you, Jay.
Thank you, Jay. I'll come down
Get it.
Okay.
Well, this equipment that he's wanting to sell here, he's got down at the bottom of it.
If he sells that backhoe,
No, that ain't gonna be much. I don't know what he's,
No, this is New Holland backhoe. This is one. One of that backhoe last year, 2,000 hours. It's not as big as, it's not as big as.
It's that open backhoe car, isn't it?
That's what he's talking about. That took off with 1,500. When I left years ago, 2011, well, I don't know, but I don't want to sell it. That's, we're going to dig anymore, hard to dig it. Something's wrong here. I don't, maybe they don't expect.
For what I'm going to also do is for the insurance, I'm going to so I'm going to have, I didn't drop those pieces to my inventory list. We'll have information
It could be this precinct 2 got an old one. But the reason this out don't have it in ours is it sits on the yard and they come back to get material, it loads up the stuff. But Philip had one a lot older than this one. And they was out next door, and when I first went off, I tried to give them, why don't we share these? They won't do it. But anyway, that's why I don't have it now. Because the one we take around right now is bigger, and they like it.
Well, just like that dump truck, he said nobody wants to drive it. There's nothing wrong with that truck.
Standard.
Needs some front end work done on it.
Well, you know,
What's wrong with it?
the front end needs work on it.
Front end needs to be rebuilt.
You know, it's just, that's a good truck. There's nothing wrong with it. He's never used it since he went in there. It's just sitting there.
an old truck.
No,
It's a dirt truck.
yeah.
It's a little dumb.
That old backhoe I got, it's, we had to work the hand out of it, but
It's
it's
like that
still
tractor.
working for it.
Open cab truck, New Holland. Is that the one you had, or just one of those?
But it's old, I bought it.
That's what I got.
That's what he's precinct 3.
Okay.
And they'll just be sitting there.
It's the only one I had.
But he got that little tractor. I told him, I told him, I said, you need to get it running. He just left it there because I guess he wants to open cab tractor. Oh, yeah.
Some of it
Strip
is.
truck,
I mean, I've got, and it's not even on here, I've got one of my old dump trucks that they went out there and robbed the doors off of because they messed up the doors on one of my other ones. And I thought about it yesterday. I thought,
nobody wants to drive it. The roadblock and the person picks it right in.
What I was fixing to do is keep that backhoe old 3 years ago and replace it with new, because I bought it for her. That's the only backhoe we had. Second one, so far, so I mean, what I would do is send a hand and a piece of equipment over.
Gar, you was talking about that. He's got in here a new backhoe and a new side cutter.
What?
$65,000 for a backhoe and $90,000
The one in the
for
yard.
a side cutter. But
This one.
he don't need to buy a side cutter, a tractor for a side cutter. All the tractors are good. He just needs to buy the side cutter. And it's not $90,000, I don't think. I hadn't.
Just a little smaller.
I done it. I got that you get with him next week. I'm gonna go show him. I'm gonna go show him exactly what is the city's now.
Let me tell you, Seth, yesterday, this program, the Google program, he says he had that program and he would come and put it on my machine, tell you the mile between intersection so-and-so and so-and-so. He says that he told me what it was. Google.
You have to draw a line on each road or something like that.
I don't know, but he said he would tell you the miles.
Well, that's what I appreciate it. I don't know anybody else.
We got it in my precinct 1, but I don't know whether.
Get an acronym, a tab.
City manager told me that from Green Hill to Martin Bluff, the city limits only comes up to one side. And I spent a bunch of money.
Okay.
Because that's the most traveled road in my precinct, that. And I said, that belongs to the city. And they said, no, it didn't until, what'd you do? Somebody called his hand on it?
Mike remembered that law passed. We got a copy of that law that says if they annex up to a road, but don't cross the road, they still assume liability, not only for the road, but both sides of the road.
He's going to have to
They had
figure
to
out
put the
how
cover.
to separate the.
Because they were wanting us to take care of half the road.
Not just what. Yeah.
No, they weren't wanting to take care of any of it. They just wanted to go up to the road and leave us the road.
That's the partner's trailer out here from there, up to where Betty lives, just over that hill. That's all city, both sides. Then you go out there where Mr. Dunn lived, and you go out there to Smith Cemetery. That's the north end of the airport. All that road by Smith Cemetery, all the way over there by Smitty's. Yeah, across there. I hadn't been through there in a long time. Have they finished that road?
I don't know.
They finished that road. The one that goes behind.
Right, Green Hill.
Goes from 271 to Green Hill.
Yeah, they finished it.
Oh, yeah, the city? Yeah, well, look, I was patching that road. And finally, they decided they was going to redo it because they did it for 271.
They're supposed to go across that road. They're supposed to go around all the way to Hartford Club, aren't they?
Those two,
understand
what they were going with it.
They haven't bought that land. They haven't annexed that land yet.
No. They wanted that land for the soccer.
They got to keep the
field, but they parsed up with selling.
I spent $40-something thousand on that road. You know what?
Well, out here where Mike and Kim Crabb live, all that was in this county at one time. And when we put the loop in, they annexed it. So all those roads out there, I haven't been keeping them up.
What roads are they on? Where's Mike and Kim now?
You go out on Tyson, you go down there. It's really Bill Preeford and the road.
You turn and go.
They were out there on 17.
Turning.
No.
They moved from out there?
They have moved from over here.
You know, in 1734, the loop that goes around in front of,
Edwards, the high school?
no, what's the one that goes out there by your
3417.
3417? They used to be on the west side of 3417 down there.
That's their business.
Well, I'm talking about way on out there by the lake.
No.
They used to have some out there.
They may have, Paul.
Like I said, I know they didn't go behind Pizza Hut, go down there,
Yeah.
you know, Tyson, and go down to the left. And then
Take a left and it dead ends down
Right
there.
behind-
Where
behind
the
That's where.
Copeland Marine was at out there.
But now out here,
I think they're still out there.
they annexed all that out there, that industrial park, and as you go down there to the very turn there by Mike and Kim's, that newlywed food, that road that goes south,
Paulus, down to Paulus.
that's been annexed in there, and so that part of that road they should be fixing it. I've always fixed that.
At 3205, they're not fixing none of it either.
No, it's only good to get together, get a list of all the roads and go.
Well, that's,
I hope they stay out
we're
of
gonna get with Roger, and I'm gonna take
I bet that on deer.
walking
Well, you mean,
deal. Tells you how many feet.
I ain't got nothing out
I
there
know
for
right where
Danny.
the lines are.
But you still got to get an agreement from the city, otherwise nobody's going to do it. They need to acknowledge
You
it.
can go to the city council.
unless they want to get
Give them the list of the roads they got to have.
See, I think they're.
Yeah, that'd be the best, well, I don't know if I'd go to a meeting.
See the mayor.
They didn't annex that.
And,
See Mike Aaron.
Mike,
I'd do it just to have
Just
to
give the road, give the list of the roads to Mike here.
draw it on a map, give it to him, just get him to sign it. We acknowledge this.
He doesn't do it, there's no problem.
He's not going to put up a problem. I showed him the law and he said, wow, I didn't know that. I don't think he's going to buck.
I think I told you that law 2 or 3 years ago.
He obviously didn't remember.
He didn't listen, wasn't listening, I guess.
You know, they went out there, they didn't get it.
He thought you was teasing.
No, he knew I wasn't teasing.
No, he clearly understands it. We just want, I would just like him to acknowledge it.
Well, yesterday we were talking about that. Hey,
Morning.
They went out there and started digging. Here's a tennis court, line miles.
You know, Roger brought up that he talked about Anthony person.
Right. That-
He didn't, wouldn't do it. Well,
That's why we need the acknowledgement. Otherwise, nobody's got to take care of these roads.
I heard it. I have got everything in mind.
Well, I will say this, Longview Road and Bridge, we'll see.
I've already got 91 miles, and I still like all of that right there.
They said when they finish getting that dirt where everybody's going through Parker's trailer and they got everybody upset out there, that they would fix those shoulders and put dirt back there and fix the road. They said, now they don't like what, they're gonna get real close to being finished next month out here in this fast one.
Last week they worked 12 hours one day.
Yeah.
Well, the overpass is done.
2 different days there to make up.
They're putting dirt, all they're gonna be pouring concrete here in the next 2 or 3 weeks. When they do that, they're through. Of course, they gotta do the dirt work, the blade work.
Can't do a lot of stuff.
Did Roger holler at you, Jeff?
You can't. Simply, you cannot.
Hi, Jeff, is he coming up here?
Keep doing it.
Can I get that list right?
Anything you want to start with before he gets here?
Ones with different lists.
Huh?
Step up to the mic.
Step up there.
Good morning. How's the air conditioning working there in the shop?
It's not working.
Start wherever you'd like.
Well, my budget, really, I'm gonna leave it like it was last year, I'm gonna carry it all over. The only thing I'm gonna change is, I'm requesting part-time salaries. Now, I figured that at 1 employee, and I really didn't know what y'all pay temporary salaries, so I figured it's $17 for 24 hours a week for 8 weeks. That's through the busy part of the year when they're doing roads and working on mowing and side cutting and all that. So what we were hoping there is to have somebody just to change oil on sheriff's cars and all cars, so 3 days a week, to give us more time to keep the equipment all running. And that's for peak summertime only. That money could also, we talked about maybe using Ronnie Coup if we had to, or flags or something other. There was no money in that category to pay if we needed to use it for that. So that could also use that. expense on trucks. The 1 ton that we drive, it's going to need new tires. So it's 6 tires at $120 a piece, it's $720. Oil change, and we didn't have all that calculated in on the last year's budget, so I had to move some things around. But oil change of $30.84, and then service that well machine air compressor on the back of it. And then oil change on our parts truck, and we allowed one front end for one line for one of the trucks, either one of them, because we allowed one of them last year. That was a total of $877.84 on vehicle expenses. And then the only other thing.
Did that include the tires you just mentioned?
Yeah.
At 120 piece?
Yeah, the 120 piece at $720. Like I said, the oil change was $30. Then to service the air compressor and well machine was $50. And then to do the oil change on the little Ford Ranger pickup that we have was $27, $50 for a front end line. $877.
Okay.
So, and now, that's really, I'm not increasing that category 877 because I already had, last year we had budgeted $620 in that category. So, I'm increasing that by a couple $100, so I'm increasing that category. Then I'm just kind of bringing this to y'all's attention. We do not have a AC recovery machine for the refrigeration, the newer refrigeration in the new cars. It runs a 1, 2, 3, 4 refrigeration. And we don't have a recovery system for that. We've had to carry one car to the Dodge house, had to charge, they charged us $600 just to charge the Freon in. We did all the work, they put Freon in and charged us $600. The machine, I've got $6,500 round off. I might be able to come out a little cheaper on that. I don't know. That's what it was in the sale catalog, and I just pulled that price right out of the sale catalog. So I know it's going to be that much. We had another vehicle that we sent to the Dodge house. They done all the work on it. They charged us $1,825. But we can do that work, and so we can save that money. But we had 2 of those this year. All the cars we're going to get, all the cars will come with 1, 2, 3, 4 from now on. So that's going to be something we will go to with all the sheriff's department and everything like that. Now our equipment's still going to stay with 134. We have a 134 machine, but it will not do 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's
let me ask you this. Tim was saying these will switch to
Tahoes. Yeah, the Tahoes, yeah. They're going to come with 1, 2, 3, 4.
But you think you're going to have to change Freon to those?
Oh, it's when they, what it is usually when they damage the system. They usually ran over something. The 2 cars that we did, they both had hit something on the front end. So that's the only time we can do it.
You think with a bigger truck chassis, you still have that problem? Still, those are cars.
Yeah, those are cars. I don't know, to be honest with you, I can't answer that.
What, that machine, what was it you looking at? What was the cost of that?
$6,500.
It's on that sheet.
Narrative sheet.
Oh, I'm
In
sorry.
his deal.
And that'll last a long, long time. Right?
Yeah. And it's for us to work on the air conditioning system, it's a state law, so we have to have a recovery process to work on it.
That's correct.
So that's why I'm letting you know about the machine, the cost of it. Like I said, we might could buy one that's a tad cheaper than that. We just have to go out and take bids on it and see what we can get. But that's why I'm asking for that much. I just looked at the catalog and stuff to go with it.
What takes 1, 2, 3, 4 now? When did they start that?
I don't know exactly the date, when they started, but I know all the new vehicles come with it.
Like 18s or 17s or
17s and 18s.
17s and 18s.
I didn't realize that it changed. I thought everything was still 134A.
Pretty regular. It seems like that, they won't settle on one. I thought when they went to the 134, that was supposed to be the fix for everything.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
It's never changing market, we have to stay with it. And that's just to keep us in compliance, like I said, with the law on that, is my main concern on it. Yeah, I told them about the cost to carry it down, and the cost just to have them charge for free on it and stuff like that. So, but that's just, well, like I said, it'd be nice to have that money put in the budget for that. If not, we need to at least allow in the future budgets, you know, put some money back, plan to buy it maybe the year after. But we only had two times we carried in this time, so you're looking 12, so you're about $2,000 right there this year. That's all we spent.
Judge, I don't have any problem doing all that, what was your question?
Right.
Well, there'd be money ahead if you could do it ourselves.
And that's all I've got that I want to change. Everything else I want to leave the same as it was. All the other categories are all going to stay the same.
Have you utilized McCoo this year?
No, I have not. No.
None at all?
We haven't had the need to call him or nothing else. So, no. And that's what I said. I just wanted to, I guess, looking for the worst case scenario, a way to get out of that and help us out if we had to. That's all I was asking for on that. It's just, if we got what we couldn't stay caught up. Luckily, we've been taking care of our tires, and we're doing better on that. And we haven't had as many flats and all as we did last year. So that's helped us quite a bit. We've spent a lot of money on tires. We have done that.
You'd start that part-time employee, what, June or July, or what are you thinking there?
Would that kind of be up to Roger? Depending on when he starts, the busy time of the year, I call it. He starts, like right now, with seal coating, or mowing, and trying to do some side cutting and spraying. It's, right now would be the time I need somebody to help us keep up. We can keep up until we get a run on the sheriff's cars. The way they buy them, they kind of come in waves because they buy them all at one time, you know, 4 or 5 at a time. So usually it seems like the service comes due on 4 or 5 at a time, and it throws us behind. We just barely get caught up. Service and those get back on equipment when we need to get back, you know. So we had that first couple of days a week during the summer months there. June, July.
So you don't think you need that in addition to some monies for using McCoo?
No, I do not.
Okay.
No.
That's covered in McCoo also.
That's covered in McCoo also, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we could do fine with that.
Well, jumping back just quickly on your maintenance truck, do you need those tires now? I mean, you're talking about 3 months from now before this budget even starts.
No, I do not. No, I'm projecting that for next year.
Okay.
That's not for right now.
Okay.
I just want to go ahead and get to the budget, and let's get them on sometime next year. That's all I want to do.
Okay. Looks reasonable to me. Questions, comments on any of this? Have we done the necessary repair work and painting, et cetera, in your offices where we're done with that?
Yes. Yeah, I believe it's all done.
On the office, except he's going to come in on that wall is a sheetrock. He's going to paint it too, keep it from cracking, you know.
We got money available for that?
It's not costing us nothing except the paint.
Okay. No new sheetrock?
Community service guy.
Huh?
The community service guy.
Mm-hmm. Yes, he's doing all the work. He's
no new sheetrock or materials?
No, it's just going to help it from drying out and keep it from breaking up. But it doesn't cost all it costs is the paint. And I think he's got plenty of it right now.
I think we need that reclaim machine. because it's the law. We shouldn't be letting that stuff out.
Yeah, I think we're all in agreement on that. I mean, between that and the part-time help, you got a $10,000 increase in there.
I think it's a good idea.
I mean, I tried to keep it as low as I could, and that's no idea. Save all we can, so.
Thank you, Jeff.
Did you get the safe combination?
Do what?
Get the safe combination?
Yes, I got it. Sure did.
Thank you, Jim. The painter, he was on the door and he painted over it.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Before you start with Low Bridge, you want to go and get paid?
I am.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate it.
That's my seat.
That's it.
Thank you.
That's your hot seat.
We'll see you.
Thank you, Jim.
He does.
Thank you. This is your last one, isn't it?
It is.
You gonna come back next year and do it again?
I'm not running something else. Never know.
Well, you're a little sad today then, huh? Being the last budget meeting?
No.
It's up through, well, that's over it.
Well, we're still doing office supplies out of
Out of
DC.
your DEC monies. We've always done it.
And right now, she, that was mine. And our technology. Right now, she has $1,500 roughly in her DDC, $1,560.76. And again, y'all can remember that she uses this money for her office expense.
And so does
Paul. So, and she has her technology, like Paula, and she has got 34,000 in hers. I've got,
we got
less to spend on that, right?
We got lots, but I don't know if we need a lot of computers, but I mean,
Right
they
now
were
we're-
very nice. Well, I know you're talking about your office, but we usually end up using all that money for everybody's office.
Well, what he's saying is,
What I do is I have you buy one for you,
Then we
this
get your
one,
own.
then we
And
get
then you
your
get
own.
my own.
But if you buy 5 a year, you'll get your 4 old, brand new.
Well, I definitely hear because they change
right,
the
but
system.
typically, not everybody got it.
And I bought Chris, computer, printer, different things, and give it to him.
Well, I don't see any changes. Is there anything we need to talk about?
Okay, you, Paul yesterday was talking about when they did the GPS deal out of the way station, that they coded some of the tickets to your precinct to the clerk.
So they're dismissed and we're not getting the
Are you
money.
familiar with that? Are you aware of that at all? They put the wrong precinct on there, and I guess some of those guys appealed their cases and their lawyers got them kicked out. That's been the wrong. What do you think you did, or Paul did?
It was the officer.
It was probably the officer.
DPS.
DPS officer. But you weren't aware of it. You haven't seen those dismissed or cases come from.
I haven't seen that extra in it.
They can be dismissed from your shop. It would create a case on that.
That's what I would think. How would she know, Paula know about it, Kay not know about it?
That doesn't make sense. That's what I was saying. Mike asked her how we did on that run, how much the revenue we're running, and she said she was hoping to get with Drummond and ask him because the troopers will enter it and put precinct 1 in there, and then when it comes down to the cases or whatever, then they're along precinct code, so they're up to get dismissed.
Have you had any of the appeals you've had? It's usually, it's not on the record.
It wasn't there that fast.
No.
I mean, they just did that.
Once they found out that they were putting precinct 1, JP, instead of precinct 2, then the attorneys was asking to dismiss it because it was filed in the wrong.
I have not had one ask for that.
I'll talk to them.
Maybe it's the DPS guys.
I can talk to the DPS and make sure.
They wouldn't even have time to go.
No, they said if we had time to be appealed.
Well, it may have been in the past, it may have happened this time, because you got 72 guys out there working in 3 shifts a day. But I'll talk to them and we'll just make sure everybody knows. Yeah, I'll talk to them.
Well, y'all are looking at that. I'll throw this out, that y'all might consider splitting the JP precincts, maybe 1 and 4 and 2 and 3. Since the other precinct gets the same salary that I do, doing 3 precincts.
Okay, tell us more. I've always wondered about that myself.
Well, I think there's, y'all can correct me, about 8,000 in each precinct, 8,000 people. That sound about right? So I'm dealing with 24,000 people, and it may not be exact, but the precinct 2 is like 8,000.
Well, Mike would have been the only one that went around that day. Didn't they? Back there, we had 4 different tank meetings, and they did it.
Okay.
They did that after my first term.
Kay was here too.
So why did they do it that way?
Well, supposedly at that time, we did it was divided this way because of demographics. But it's changed now, well, like the 1 man, 1 vote.
Yeah.
But now that's all changed. So I think it needs to be looked at, maybe put 1 and 4 together and 2 and 3, which would not affect anything except change the workload. And I know, I'm sure you have to go through the Justice Department to change it. They did when they created the board, and they did when they changed it.
What?
Be a good time to do it.
Back in
Yes,
that.
it would be. But if you did 1 and 4 together.
You're not going to do anything until you contact the Department of Justice and they give you permission to do it. They say no.
But like I said, we got precinct 2 having the same salary, same number of clerks, and I've got 3 times the work. That doesn't make sense.
Well, and I'm not challenging you, it just doesn't seem, I mean, obviously we got here somehow. Was the workload previously 3 to 1?
Well,
when I was in precinct 2, I had the lake and just what they have now. But when I came in the first time, we had 4 JPs, so we had 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then they combined it, and it was on a, like I said, demographic makeup. But our county is not near like it was when it was changed to the
Again, when was that change?
do what now?
When was the change?
It was in 1987.
Yeah, okay, so
31 years ago?
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. And y'all know, I mean, our county is nothing like it was population-wise, we divided up.
And see, back then, Walmart was on this side of 271. Now it's on Kay's side, on the other side. Of course, Kay was the commissioner, the JP at Precinct 2 at one time. The Justice Department set these up, and you're not going to do anything till you get out to the Justice Department and they say it's okay.
They will work with you. But, I mean, all you would have to do
Let me
is
tell you.
show them the difference in the county of the demographics that we have now.
We moved this bill, we moved half the JP Center, we had to move to precinct 1, 3, and 4, and the other half would be in 2. That's a third of that lot. And it took us 6 months to get the okay to do that.
But it would be a real good time to look at it if y'all are interested.
Well, are we growing enough to where we need 4 JPs and 4 constables? Because we were 16,000 at that time, and we're about 35,000.
Slow down, slow down. This would be a good start.
I think if you would just start with
The 2.
the 2, but,
John Martin
I
helped me a
look
lot with this too,
for,
Judge.
in the next session of the legislation, they're talking about increasing the civil even up to 20,000 for the JPs. So that means precinct 1, 3, and 4 is going to be triple loaded with civil, and that means the alternate.
Well, I'm going to put this on the agenda to begin the discussion at the next meeting, and then we'll figure out which commissioner's going to lead this charge.
I would think it would be something y'all might want to look at.
I think we definitely should look at it. This would be a good time to do it. Both of you leaving, 2 new ones coming in.
Well, you've got, our growth is more than doubled.
Yes.
And I know when it was divided up like this, and then Walmart moved over on your side, I know you were loaded down on checks, all kinds of stuff.
Well, they're going to, the legislation is really looking at increasing the justice court's rates on everything. So I think that's going to play.
That'd just about double your work.
I don't know if they'll actually go to 20. I'm real confident they'll at least go to 15. And deal with that is take some of it off the county court and district court in the civil. So there would be filing more there.
I mean, I hardly feel a civil docket load.
You what?
I don't deal with civil much at all.
Well, I'll see if I can get something.
I'm just making a statement. Well, you made that statement like it was going to relieve the county court. My load, I hardly spend any time.
Most of it will go to district court. That's, if they don't file with us, most of it is filed in district court.
Yeah, I mean, I deal with a lot of credit card debt, but that's about it.
Yeah.
And those never seem to go to trial. I mean, we set them up and they never go. They settle them before they get here.
You need to come down and visit, because they go to trial.
Now, to do away with the JPs, and you correct me on this, because this all happened right when I was involved with the school and running, has to be voted on. Is that correct? We had to vote to 2 constables and 2.
You mean about the people?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. The court can, I couldn't remember whether it was voted on to remove those 2 spots or.
No. It's not a ballot issue. It's y'all.
It's the court.
Would decide, present your plan to the justice court system, and then you would work with them, but it's not a.
And they tell you if you can or if you can't.
Right.
Okay. When they tell you something, that's it.
Okay, it'll be on the agenda.
Do you think we need to go back to 4?
No.
Not at all.
2, just divide the precincts.
But I'm saying, the population is more than double if we're going to do it.
Well, you
In
know,
the near-
with the
near
exact
future.
numbers, I think you ought to look at that. But I think 2 could handle it.
We didn't even have computers in 1987.
Or 1983. Exactly. We still had the documents.
Back in that period of time when we had 4, y'all stayed busy, and then y'all doubled your work, now you
triples your work.
All right.
Any questions?
No, that's a good point to bring up, though.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks for
Thank you, ma'am.
giving me the next day. I have to go to Dallas to the funeral.
They didn't even know I switched you.
They didn't?
Nope.
Won't forget anything I said. All right, did y'all meet Tracy? He's
Sure.
one of the,
We know Tracy.
Okay. Potential for November.
Okay. We do have appointments with our district judges and our district attorney. Now, will they come? I don't know, but we can certainly begin. We can certainly begin with y'all.
Okay. Good to see you, Tracy.
Good try.
Good to see you. Good to see you. Y'all know what the JP's made in '87?
I don't know, but
$14,000.
according to counties our size, we have excellent. I think we're number one in pay in the constable in the state. The 37 counties in our population.
For JP pay?
Yeah.
Good county to work with.
The neighboring counties, we're really high.
They don't have near the work that these two have. One of them has to be on call, or the judge has to be on call.
Yeah, I wouldn't take that job. All right, Roger, go ahead.
Fund 19. I want to see that there were 250,000 that settled back last year, moved into Fund 19. Still goes up.
Roger. Pull that microphone closer to you. Thank you.
Do you hear me?
You said 250 for the seal code? You're asking for 250?
Yeah, we transferred into Fund 19.
Okay.
Isn't that in General County right now? Yes. Okay. And I'm asking for that other 250,000 to be transferred into Fund 19 for next year. Won't that be all of the $1 million that was set aside?
I don't think you have used all the $1 million.
560.
I guess that'd be right.
So it should be all of it.
Should be, yeah.
And I think there was a little bit left in capital outlay, wasn't that 48,000? For the water truck, and 48,720. So there should still be like $720 capital outlay on that.
Yeah, 48,700 budget, 48,000.
Right. So we carry that 720 over fund, I think.
Yeah, well, that's,
So the amount left in Fund 19 would be $250,720.
well, that depends on.
That depends on
Depends on if you
zero.
spend all, yeah, you don't spend like right now, if you look at your seal public spend, the budget's 536, you want to spend 65. You only spend 300, you only have 200 left.
Right.
So, I don't know where you're going to finish.
If you're there, we'll be pretty close.
seal coat money. Yes. I think we're pretty good in it. When I spend I think we're pretty good in it this year.
Is that already started or y'all just now?
We're putting a lot of money in prep right now. We have to cover the season. It's been 65,000 so far. So we're actually using hot mix right now. It's pretty hard to seal over cold mix without picking up. So we're switching over to hot mix. Seal coat over. Now here's the deal. Everybody needs to be on line with. We're spending $500,000 this year on seal coat. We only moved 250 over there for next year. That's all the seal coat you're gonna do is 250. So it'll be money left. If you borrow $500,000.
And that'll happen by end of year, won't it?
Hey, you're gonna do just like the state, you're gonna go to September the 1st, and that's it, on sale coat. That's what I did. You get one of those, might catch a week there that you can do a little seal coating, but we just didn't go beyond that September the 1st day.
How many miles does $500,000 seal coat you get out of that?
Depends on the prep work we have to do.
What do you plan on doing? We're looking at like 8 to 10 miles. 400 miles. Yeah. And now I'm talking, there's some of those roads don't have to be sealed over. There's big roads that do need to be sealed over the next couple of years. And when they can get the sealed over on 15-year cycle. That's right.
Yeah,
So to get to that point, we need to be spending close to $3.2 million in budget every year. Right. You know, we talked about that last year. That's why I've talked about another 250, another 500,000 the next year's budget for seal coat. That would be nice. If that's the decision y'all have to make. But I understand if you're going to do 250, you're going to do half the miles that you're doing this year.
What's it costing us per mile?
Just the seal coat itself costs about between 14 and 16,000. I think asphalt's going to go up. We were paying like $1.95 a gallon, and last time I talked to Tom over there, it's going to go up to maybe $2.35.
From 95 to 235?
$1.95 to $2.35.
It's all,
Yeah.
that's what stopped us last time, seal coat.
And oil prices going back up.
Yep.
So when oil prices go up, asphalt prices go up.
Were you aware of this issue that Carl's describing there, where really just getting 250 is going to really produce half the results?
Yeah, I realize that.
Okay.
But y'all got to make a pretty good commitment to get us up to where we can seal coat the roads on 15-year cycle. We need to, we got to the budget needs to be about $3.2 million. And that's what we talked about last year here, but I really think that's where you need to be. Make a commitment. Yeah, that's about balance. Cover that. We have no balance pretty quick. Whether you use the road system pays or not, you still got to spend more money on the roads.
Right.
Yeah, these roads didn't get like they were the last 12, 14 months. These roads didn't get like they are the last 14 months, like everybody's telling them.
No. It's a long-term project.
Yeah, it has. It's been a long time project deteriorating.
What kind of commitment are y'all willing to make for continued seal coat?
I think we'd be foolish not to continue seal coat.
You willing to increase taxes in order to do it?
I think we should Yeah. That's what it is.
I am.
I think that we would, should cut other expenses somewhere else before we did, try to.
Okay.
You know, I make some recommendations on where we could cut some expenses.
Has any of that changed in the last couple of years, just to refresh our memories?
No, I think we could do without some jobs, and then just like part-time. You know, we want a commitment to part-time. It seems like when we do a part-time job, it becomes an entitlement. When we add somebody, we never do bother about getting rid of some expenses.
Well, where have we added those part-time jobs that we haven't?
No, we were talking about John Mark Coburn wanted to add one.
Well, and we put a cap on that.
But we have one in the county clerk, got a scanning thing. Well, that kid's over there taking his break. He don't have nothing to do. He's over in the annex. He's just out of it. It's an entitlement, would seem like. Here, we'll just keep him on the payroll. And I think we could, there's a lot of places. I don't think the unfunded mandates, we talk about that. We got a clerk down at the TPS. I don't think we should do that. That's not our job. I don't think we need a county investigator either, but I don't, nobody else has one, and I don't know. I've talked to a few people. A lot of the stuff that Paul Lindsay does, the sheriff does, the sheriff's department does, and I've talked to the sheriff's department here, and they could do a lot of it. They'd be willing to do some of that, and that's a pretty good salary, $45,000 with a car, automobile, and so forth.
I can't imagine that office running without him. I can't imagine it.
Yeah, well,
I see us dismissing a whole lot of cases without that position.
Yeah, well, I'm not in a position to know that. I'm just knowing other counties don't do it.
I agree, but
Who are the counties?
All of them in there.
You know, every county I can go to around here is going to be just,
anybody.
don't have
I don't
it.
think there's one around here that has a county investigator.
Let me say this, 32 years ago, they did away with the DPS officer. The county was going to lose, actually they were going to take a DPS trooper and put him in there as secretary to answer the phone.
That was 32 years ago.
That's right.
And you didn't know about the fine. I can get a fine on one of my trucks this morning. I'll know what the fine is down in Austin by in the morning or tonight. So you got computers. You don't need a clerk to make sure that we get the separation of the fines, the city fines.
I disagree with that completely.
Well,
it's going to cost the county, and it's just like Paul. I guarantee you, they've done 600 cases this year down in John Mark's office. You go down there and you look at that, and I've watched it and seen what's going on, and the cases are unbelievable what John Mark is getting done. But you got to have your evidence, you got to have everything organized. When you walk into that courtroom, it's all got to be there. You can't go do this or do that. But you know, you're talking about stuff, to me, it's going to cost us money if we try to do that.
Well, one of the biggest differences there now is with body cameras and the amount of video that's reviewed now through that office. So there's no way we can do without that and maintain the progress we're making.
I wouldn't disagree because I don't know what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? Well, I couldn't be that, but there's lots of other jobs. The purchasing agent, I think, is a waste of money. I think that's, and of course, I think the Veterans Administration, that should be handled by volunteers. Most of that stuff, I think it's just a dead expense that we could do without. I know volunteers that do, and I would even volunteer, and I did that. That was part of my job. I know it's 100 years ago when I got out of the Army. The last 6 months, I did the paperwork, so I know how that, and they still have the same form numbers, by the way.
Well, we've had that discussion before. We've got, talking about jobs to eliminate: the investigator, the secretary, the business manager, and the Veterans Administration Officer. My position hasn't changed on any one of those four. Perhaps it's changed on y'all, and if so, speak up, and that would give you a little tiny bit of money to do something with, but it's not going to make an impact, significant impact. At least monetarily, it'll make a significant negative impact if we remove some, some of those anyway.
Countywide, we only have 3 part-time employees, just for FYI.
Clerk and county attorney.
Commissary and sheriff, and then county attorney, which is just temporary, will go away, and then we have county clerk.
Well, there's lots of jobs, and I think that the elected officials.
I'm sorry, we do have part-time with JP. That's Kate, I think that's part-time.
If you count elections office.
I'm sorry, we have more than just.
Have your facts, Chris.
Sorry.
We've always had part-time for.
Of course, the election office too, we could move that back into the county clerk's responsibility and get rid of that job.
Go talk to the clerk about that. I mean, just spend some time and talk with her, and talk with Judy Cook. I mean, I have.
About what?
About moving it back into those offices.
The election office?
The election office, yeah.
To Judy Cook?
Yeah, talk to Judy Cook.
Judy Cook, I thought that went under the county clerk's office, under their jurisdiction.
Split.
It's split.
Talk to each of those elected officials and get their opinion. I mean, it would be good for you to hear their viewpoint on that decision. I've done that, and I've arrived at the conclusion we're better off where we are. But I would encourage you to do that. Hear their side of it.
I'd like to hear their side of it. I can observe the amount of work that they do, and I can tell you that it's just it's unbelievable how little they do. And you can see that election office anytime you want to go over. We got babies over there, they're not doing anything, and they get busy in certain parts of the year. Judy Cook gets busy. Rest of the time, her clerks are walking the streets, or exercising, or walking around a lot of time of the year. So that's
You're welcome to come in and sit on a 3 o'clock Wednesday meeting with me regarding that particular subject. Seriously.
Which
we're addressing those issues. I mean, we really are, and you're welcome to come to that meeting, or I'll talk to you about it in private. Anyway, back to the issue at hand, where the big money gets spent on those roads. What kind of commitment are you guys interested in making long term? Are you willing to raise taxes in order to maintain continued progress on seal code or other road-related issues?
Penny will get you about $200,000.
Do what now?
Penny will get you about $200,000. So, you put $500,000 a year for a couple of years out of fund balance. If you want to continue that, you're going to have to put 2 cents. Make up that $500,000.
Understand that. That Hopkins County has a tax, and we also have it too on the license plate, each license plate. They spend a considerable amount of money, more money on their roads than we do, and we're about the same size. But they get that. They have another tax. I added that payroll, that license plate tax onto their cost.
We get that, but we might not be getting all we can.
I don't know.
It was $5.
What do you
went
put
to
that?
$10.
We're at the cap.
Where are you applying?
We're not going to get like $10 a plate. It goes in there. It's in the,
It's, where do you put
Well,
it?
right now,
You don't put it in road and bridge, do you?
Son of the auto registration. Look at the front page of your right.
Where do you put it in the budget, general fund?
No, it goes in the road bridge fund.
Oh, it goes to the road and bridge fund? Okay.
It's in line 2.
It's called a road and bridge fee when you pay your license.
auto registration.
It's auto registration.
Right.
It's in there now.
You see, that's separate.
Well, they have posted separate, but we just put it all in there like that.
They have road and bridge, it goes to road and bridge, and they have.
It goes to road and bridge. It always went to road and bridge. It went to all 4 of your precincts divided up 4.
Yep.
4. Now it just goes into 20. We do get it. It would be nice if they would allow us to raise that a little bit, but we're at.
That's the fairest tax you can have right there.
Everybody has to pay it. Everybody that drives has to pay it.
That's where I think, I agree. Can you check on that, Judge?
But I live
We
in the
go to
city, I
15?
shouldn't have to pay it. I live in the city, I shouldn't have to pay it.
Well, yeah, I see you out of my way all the time. I think you ought to help pay for them roads out there.
You're right about that.
I think Red River County spends the least amount of percentage of their budget on roads of all of our neighboring counties.
And we're next.
Go look at it.
That's right, we're the least. I have a copy of the,
We are next. We
We're
spend
at-
about $5,000 a mile, or on a mile per year.
I don't know, we spend.
And everybody else spends a lot more than we do.
Red River
Yeah,
County don't.
that's a shame.
Well, Red River, but
Franklin
that,
County, Kent County, Morris County spending more money than we do on our roads per mile.
Yeah. Yep.
per mile.
Per mile. Yeah.
And that was the same way 20 years ago and 25 years ago.
So the question is, are you willing to raise taxes in order to crawl out of this hole over the long term? If so, you need to start doing it a little bit at a time and not taking big chunks all at once.
You will have an opportunity in 2 years when that 2004 bond pays off.
Yeah.
That's.
How much will that-
That's probably
19.
2 cents, it's probably 2 cents.
About 2 cents. That would offset it.
How long?
Well,
2 years?
I think it's at the end of next year, it's the end of 19.
End of 19, if I'm not mistaken.
There'll be, I believe it's around 2 cents.
2 cents come off your INS.
That'd be that first bond, right? I mean,
That's that
That 2004 bond.
2004 bond.
Not
Okay.
loop bonds.
Yeah, I understand. Judge, I can tell you right now, I don't have a problem in supporting something that we may have to increase it, but I think we need to look at every option and go from there.
Every option of what?
Well, I'm just saying in general, what's the long-term goal that we're going to try to have set here. And here again, in November, unit system may not be here. I want to see it continue to grow where we can get roads fixed.
Well, you still got to have the money,
That's what I'm saying.
regardless of what form of government you got.
Long-term, for the commissioners, where if they go along, they can get these things done.
Like I'm talking about $3.2 million, and that's in today's dollars. I mean,
But
you start adding inflation to that, it's gonna go up every year.
But you're gonna have to, it's just like Al was talking about, he's got a list of what each county spends per mile. We need to educate the public and tell them that we spend less money than anybody.
Now, some counties have like a dedicated road and bridge tax.
I know some counties, and I'm not for sure on this, but I think Hopkins County did a 4 or 5%, 4 or 5 cents, didn't they?
Yeah, they got about, this time they get through, they have about 18% of their budget. We have 14% of ours, something like that.
But it's a road and bridge bond, I guess you would call it, or not a bond, a tax or whatever. The voters vote on it whether to do it or not to do it. I think we need to look into that.
Mileage deal on their license plates, they put that in their road and bridge. They got that. That's, and you do too, but they have it separate.
turn that ship around gradually. And this year we ought to do that. We ought to have at least a penny, if not two, specifically earmarked for additional funds for road and bridge. That's my thoughts.
Well, it can definitely shut you down when you're trying to get some roads done and oil prices jump from $14, $15 a barrel to $109.
Stay over there,
It looks like it's going back up. I guess that's what they need is more money.
Well, there's other details you want us to get back on here, Roger?
yeah, let's go back to everything on Fund 20.
What page are you on?
You know anybody?
Well, on Fund 20 page, on the second page of it, I guess it says page 5.
They did that
Y'all
4 or
pages
5 cents. Not a bond,
Yeah.
but
You're looking at this sheet.
where the voters.
Second page of his
Yeah,
handout.
Voters passed it.
So the total expenditures on salaries is still $133,291, just like it was last year. Flip the page. I'll cut this just a little bit.
Do you have a question? Hold on.
On these guys, these new guys, when are you, the 3 we just hired, about what?
We already had them in there in the first place.
Are they gonna,
Without increasing their pay.
Right.
What was those original numbers? It was figured out the next pay. So it should.
Well, they were not lowered and then gradually, with the motion or anything, it started at what everybody else was.
Yeah. So all the money's still in there for whatever the average salary is.
Even though they're not getting paid, it's.
Right.
I have to do a share on step aid. I don't know. I don't know if the next one they bring in is gonna be step 8 or step 1, so I have to budget step 8.
right,
Just like there won't be money left over in that
right.
item this year. So basically, I left all the same salaries. I don't know if y'all give the cost of living raise this year or not. Next page, technology, I left it at 0. Mileage reimbursement, looks like my mileage reimbursement's gonna run around 3,000 a year. So I dropped it 5,000. Restrictions and dues, I left it the same. Electricity, I left the same. Utility, gas, which is basically our propane that we buy from precinct 1 office, $200. Water bill, I left it the same. Trash pickup, left it the same. Lease, left it the same. So that dropped the minimum expenditure now about $5,000 to $16,676. Okay, next page. Now to the oil and gas item. I left it in at $100,000.
How close are you going to get to that 100 this year by the time the year's over?
I'm not real sure. I think we're at 54,000. We're using the month right now, next 3 months. I don't know if we'll get the full 100,000.
Think about their expenses of this, so they love so much in the summer.
Right.
We don't have, they didn't find that much. November, December, January.
So we got receipts over 100 right now.
that?
We're using a broadleaf herbicide.
Okay.
Remedy is what we're using. We're not killing grass. We're going to use for killing grass.
Yeah.
It doesn't target grass.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the things we got right now, it's not Roundup.
EMS.
Kill the place they get everything. Remedy will kill the small tree, yes. But I think we spray the whole tree.
I can tell you right now, a lot of people don't like it. They just don't like it.
Lots of folks, I've had lots of complaints about it,
How do y'all feel
about how
about it?
ugly it was, no.
How do y'all feel about it? If you got on a regular maintenance program where you got grass growing in, but no broadleaf weeds that grow so fast?
No, what we're talking about is
10 foot out of the tree or kill trees.
It's killing everything on the trees, and it's still hanging out there, and it looks like everything's just dying. And one of the concerns that I've got about it is if we get a fire out, and a lot of times we'll try to use a right-of-way to stop a fire, and if we've got a wildfire moving through there and it hits all that dead stuff, it's going right across the road and keep going. There's no way we can stop it.
This is basically the same thing with the fire company uses.
okay.
They come in there and do pretty much a little bit of herbicide.
Takes it out.
Right now, they're spraying, they got a little bit.
And ultimately, if we get cut back, you get sprayed, we're not gonna have all that dead stuff left. But we're trying to get ahead of it, so we can actually make a dent in it, so we're not getting
It won't look that bad next year, but you're gonna see where it's dying.
In some of those roads that we've cut back, y'all notice we've sprayed on it, they're staying cut back, that's ultimately what we'd like to do, is keep them cut back.
I'd love to see tree trunks and grass out there. And I don't think most of the farmers and ranchers claim they're spraying their side of things right now. I think ultimately it would end up saving us a lot of money. But one of our biggest problems is the privet hedges.
Yes, yeah. That's has been my problem out there. I've got every road out there that I've got's got those. And
They grow concrete field there, and really taking out those privet hedges.
Good.
And usually whenever the leaves and stuff fall off, that privet hedge just has a little stem sticking out. You drive the little bit and you can't even see it. But until those leaves drop off, then you
I've had several tell me that they didn't want it their property sprayed no matter what. They didn't want it sprayed. And,
Well, they just said it didn't look good. They didn't like the dead.
well, I've got that too.
But I told them, after a period of time, you wouldn't have those dead leaves, they'll fall off. And it should.
And then it wouldn't be enough to put stumps there.
Tree trunks and grass should be, if you spray 4 or 5 years, hopefully all we got is tree trunks and grass out there.
I haven't had a complaint.
That'd be great.
Yeah, I think it goes grass.
They don't like those dead.
We just got to explain it, that we're in the process. It's not a one-year fix, and it's just not going to look that way forever.
They will, they'll find out.
Right now, go with the fire engine. So it start looking bad when you got a whole line, 2 miles.
Yeah, and like I say, that a lot of times that's what we use as a stop, or try to, is a road or something other like that to where we can get a break in there. If it's moving across there faster than we can stay with it, and it hits that, well, it's going right on across and never slow down. So.
I had more complaints over the side gutter than I had about the herbicide.
Let me tell you that.
Oh, really? I hadn't. I mean,
Yeah. Well, the cost of
well, I never had it. I had one guy that complained to me about, and I'd done my whole precinct the first year that I was in, and I had one guy that complained about it, and so that's all the complaint I had about the side cutting. And we tried to carry it back. I told them when they were running just to carry it back as far as our either the fence line or the ditch line, just to keep it out of the road. I said I don't want it hanging over the road. And
well, it should be after we cut them back. If we keep them not back to the herbicide, we should have. That should save a lot of money.
Another thing that I've had a few complaints about too is a lot of these folks that are organic, they don't want that stuff sprayed anywhere around them. And you know, that's been a few of my complaints.
But you'll know more next year how if this does what I think it's going to do. That should all fall off.
Yeah, it should all fall off. Yeah, it looks bad right now.
That's what I said, close your eyes when you're going down the road, you won't see it. She said, but what if I'm driving? I said, well, keep your eyes
Yeah,
open.
son, all the leaves are gone. We just tweaked. Which it looks a whole lot better with just a tweak.
Yeah. Oh, well. I would, at the end of this fiscal year, because I think you can get a real true picture of it, go back and look at the last full year where the commissioners was over the road and stuff, and I'd like to get the total gas bills of that last year, because we were all working ourselves to death to see on our gas and diesel bill. Just compare it to, you know, for a full year here and a full year here, not part years.
You think it's worse or better, or you don't know?
My bill usually around 15 to 17,000, something like this, gas and diesel a year. So if it's going to stay around 100,000, which what it looks like, it's going to be pretty close to being the same. I've had people to ask me that. So we might find out, but we can't really find out until October.
To go back to what Mike was talking about the gas, I'm sitting here looking at mine. For 15 and 16, my gas was 17, and then in 15, and then 18, a little over 18 in 16. My repairs were 12 in 15 and 14 in 16. So.
Here's what yours was. 22 and 15 and
Right there at the
14.
end, I had so much money and I just filled them all up.
All
instead of
four
waiting till
precincts.
December. You go back and look at the other years, it's around.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
Well, that's what I'd done, went back to mine, just mine there and looked at it.
I thought the price of gasoline dropped so much.
That was another reason. I went ahead and bought it because it was so cheap. I didn't know if it was going to stay that cheap or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. That's what happened.
Mine went down, but that was, I didn't usually, it just went down the price.
Well, I mean, you're running a lot right now, a lot of equipment, so you may be close to it.
Okay, next item right here was equipment lease. I'm looking at trying to lease 2 pieces of equipment. The Claimer, which is very expensive to lease, it's $13,700 a month. If you lease it for 4 months, it's $54,800. And the backflip roller again for 4 months, it's $3,600 a month, $15,400. That's not a total
those things cost?
I think they're $350,000.
We spent $100,000 on that bow bag every year keeping it running. And Upshur County, they bought a reclaimer and then they sold that. They kept that bow bag for a couple of years and they sold it. How much did Philip, one time about 3 years ago, we had that was I don't know, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 to fix that bow bag?
Yeah, I think in.
To answer your question, we had crossed one earlier last year. Yes, the reclaimer. It was $362,000, and it has 1,400 hours on it, almost 1,500 hours, something like that. Small. Yeah, that's the small one.
How long will it last?
Sorry.
How long will it last? I don't know, but they're pretty high maintenance too. It's something that's 20 years, chews up paint, work pretty hard.
There's a lot of things to go wrong with them, isn't
If
there?
you can have it coordinated,
You're almost like a milling machine without a conveyor belt. Milling machine wrong.
you have it coordinated, you can rent one of those things and use it for a week in each precinct, use it for a month, take it back and you're through with it. That's what we did. That's what we did.
How could you do that?
We run that sucker, we had, Philip was on it, and Rod Calhoun's boy, Shane, was on it, and they run it day to day and dark too.
What'd you put back on the road? Did you
Rolled it over to the side and left it till we got to it.
Some places will do that, some places don't do it.
Well, I did it in Hope's Landing, and they didn't say a word, they was glad to get it done. Then we had one that it rained for a week in Bud City.
That would be my concern.
Well, we took a shot and it worked for us.
You can bring something that says it's raining one,
You took,
you just sit there.
If it rains, you're in trouble.
yeah, if you seal coat, I don't know how you could leave it. How long could you leave it piled off the road or something?
No,
If you're gonna,
I'm talking
if you're
about
seal coat.
reworking the road. Seal coating, you got to do it, the temperature's got to be, it can't be raining,
No,
stuff
but
like that.
you put the reclaimer out there and bust all that road up. You got a dirt road.
Yeah, basically,
A dirt road until you get around to seal coating it. And if you can't do it in the summertime, huh?
no, I don't think it'd be as high maintenance as that just reclaim. Yeah, we probably be better off finding that. I'm just saying, if I'm gonna put $14,000 a year in there, and I can, it'll be on here, we just need one hundred. That's what we're running. But you can pay $14,000 every year. Yeah. It's gonna last you 15 years, within that 5 years, you have to pay $14,000 a year. Even though you only use it for one time. Maybe, they probably, how much does it cost a mile per month?
You save a lot of money in labor because that thing goes about 5 miles an hour. That one down there compared to the Bomac going at